I think that's a bad sign for Daniel Dubois.
Pro boxing fans, we're here in London. It's fight week. Adam Smith, always a pleasure to see you, sir. How are you? It's a bit loud in here, so we're going to have to shout. But how are you?
I'm very good. It's nice being back in Wembley Arena. I was here on Saturday with Bellator, and yeah, it's amazing how things change. And we've been all over London this week with Riyadh season and the big show at the stadium on Saturday night. I think it's Guildhall tomorrow, Trafalgar Square Friday. So yeah, it was great. Leicester Square was good last night for the grand arrivals, and really good to see Daniel Dubois in the ring looking really sharp, and AJ with his Finchley kids, the hopes for the future. That was a lovely touch, and the fans are all here tonight as they were last night, and he's giving a lot of time to them this week. He looks extremely relaxed. I had a good chat to him on Monday. Yeah, and he was great, and yeah, he's in a good place, but I think Daniel is too.
If you have a look behind us, Anthony Joshua is mobbed by the fans. My question is, how much is he loved in this country? I know he said that he might have, at some point, he might have fallen out of love at some point, or maybe people were against him. But when you look at the scenes here, and you looked at the scenes yesterday, he's very much loved in this country.
Tyson Fury has been a phenomenon for many, many years, but AJ has been the golden boy for the public, for the casual fans, the poster boy. And 7 years ago, he beat Vladimir Klitschko here in one of the great fights of modern times, and that's when he was really at his pomp, I guess. The defeat to Andy Ruiz and the comeback, and then obviously a couple of defeats to Alexander Usyk. But the great thing about Joshua is he keeps going, he keeps learning, he seems hungrier and fitter than ever. I love the relationship he's got with Ben Davison. He seems rejuvenated. Yes, Otto Wallin and Francis Ngannou are not Daniel Dubois. He's got to step up on Saturday night, and he aims to become a three-time heavyweight champion of the world. But you know, I'm pretty sure he can do it. Obviously, he's got the experience, the resume, the quality. But you know, Daniel's a young lion, and he's been in the ring with AJ before. I don't think he'll feel the pressure. I think he'll go for it. I fancy Joshua by knockout, but if Dubois is still hanging around after a few rounds, it gets very interesting.
Talk to me about the event, though. You spoke about it briefly then, about it being such a big event. Joshua's done this before. He's done it with Klitschko. You know, we've seen him doing the big events before at Wembley Stadium. For Dubois, though, it's a whole different ballgame. He did go out to Poland to fight Usyk, but back in his own country, 96,000, the biggest we've ever seen. Talk to me about what's going to be going through his nerves, his mentality leading up to the fight.
That's a key question. The psychology of Daniel Dubois, obviously very close to his dad, who has been ringside last couple of fights, spurring him on. Great performances in Saudi against Jarrell Miller, and then obviously the one against Filip Hrgovic, the big night for him. However, that was in a quieter atmosphere. It's going to be 96,000 record attendance at Wembley. AJ's fourth time there, and Daniel's first. So yes, he has dealt with Poland and a hostile crowd and the Alexander Usyk fight, but this will be different. But I believe Don Charles with him, and he'll make sure he just blocks that out and he gets on with the job in hand. I don't think he'll freeze Dubois. I'm hoping he won't. It can get to anyone, the atmosphere and that walk up the tunnel. You know, Tyson Fury against Dillian White. Dillian didn't really give us his best that night, and I wonder whether the occasion may have got to him. I'm hoping it doesn't happen to Daniel. We want to see a fire fest. It's a cracker of a night. You know, Riyadh season here, Turkey Al Sheikh bringing it to London, an amazing event. It's fabulous to be here and be amongst it. You know, I'm going to be in a very different place next week in Sheffield with GBM, a brilliant show we've got there with Izzy Asif. And, you know, it's a different level, but we're really looking forward to that. But first things first, at the highest level in boxing, we've got to look up to what Turkey's done here, bringing it to London. It's a fantastic promotion, and I think we're going to get a thunderous night of action. Boxfest is going to be great as well during the day. All the fighters are going to be there, the legends. And then we get a terrific card on Saturday night, top with AJ Dubois, Battle of the Brits, and we'll find out a lot about both fighters. And you know, Dubois 27, Joshua rebuilding again. It's a huge night for the pair of them.
How important is it in this fight that Daniel Dubois maybe tightens up that guard? We saw against Hrgović that he took a fair few punches, even though he won the fight, and it was a great performance by him. He was very open. How important is it, especially against Joshua's power, that he tightens up the defences?
Had a long chat with Don Charles the other day, and they've worked very hard on defence. I think Don didn't like the fact he took so many punches in the first 2 or 3 rounds, but obviously loved the end result, and that he walked through walls to get that win over Hrgović, which was a massive win for Daniel. It's really important that he makes sure that he doesn't walk into a jackhammer right hand early on from Joshua, because we know that AJ can put your lights out if he hits you right. But Daniel's got a lot of power too, and if he can survive an early storm and he really fancies it, he could take the fight to Joshua and ask some questions of AJ. Remember Ricky Hatton against Costas Yu, remember recently Ante Kakache against Joe Cordina. Sometimes you just have your night where you walk through anything to get the result. I'm not sure that's the right tactics against AJ, but if you know what I mean, if he survives the first 4 or 5, Daniel, it may work to his advantage. I think he's got to feel strong in there, and that maybe he could take a little bit of Joshua's power, but he doesn't want to leave himself open to take a really perfect executed right hand. I think the body shots could be interesting. Dubois hits hard with his left hook to the body, and AJ showed us against Otto Wallin that he's worked a great deal on the shots downstairs too. It's going to be a fascinating affair. You've got to say Joshua's the favourite, but you cannot write off Daniel Dubois in this fight.
I do want to ask you, do you feel like there's been a mentality shift from Daniel Dubois? A lot of people said in the Usyk fight, even before that, the Joyce fight, that he might have wanted a way out, and that's not me saying it. There's interviews that people have said in boxing, but do you feel like for this one there is a mentality shift for this fight?
Yeah, it's tough when you're not a fighter to criticise the way a fighter might end a fight, and this sort of quitting terminology, very tough. He had a massive problem with his eye, orbital bone smashed, and he came back from the Joe Joyce defeat. Fantastic performances. He came off the floor against Kevin Lerena a number of times, and he's shown a lot of bottle to me. He nearly beat Alexander Usyk, and then obviously the tables turned. People again questioned what happened at the end of that fight, but then he answered it again, toughing it out against Jarrell Miller in front of Turkey and Saudi, and then coming as the underdog against Hrgović. And I liked his interview at the end of the Hrgović fight. He seemed free. He seemed to almost be a different Daniel. Now he's got the IBF heavyweight title. I said to Don, he's dangerous. He's got nothing to lose. He said, Adam, he's got everything to lose. He's the IBF heavyweight champion, and he wants to hold on to that belt. It's really important. So, yeah, the mindsets are interesting going to this one. But I think he goes in with a lot of confidence, and I like Daniel this week. He seems very relaxed. The problem is that AJ seems as relaxed, and I think that's a bad sign for Daniel Dubois.
Yeah, to be fair, I did speak to both of them yesterday in the huddles that they did, and they both seem very relaxed. Most I've seen AJ relaxed in a while. They look very happy to be back home. Last one, Carl Froch is saying, look, if AJ does lose this one, this could be the end of AJ's career. Do you believe that? Because there seems to be, from Turkey Al Sheikh especially, hopefully the Tyson Fury fight in 2025. So do you see this being the end of Anthony Joshua if he does lose?
If he gets knocked out or loses?
Both.
I think there's always a way back in heavyweight boxing, and if he gets knocked out badly, then he's going to have to go to the drawing board and see where they go. He's had an amazing career, so let's just see what happens on Saturday night. AJ Fury is the fight that the world wants to see. It's a fight that the British public deserve to happen at Wembley. I think there could be 2 of them next year, Wembley and Saudi. Whatever the results are, really, of AJ Dubois and Fury and Usyk, they could still make that fight. We'd all turn up, wouldn't we? It's a monster. But if AJ wins and Fury wins, it becomes the biggest fight probably of all time that we've seen. I would certainly imagine in financial terms. It's a new era, isn't it, this? And we're getting the big fights made. So don't write off either of them when one of them loses on Saturday night, because the heavyweight division is full, and you just got to look at the likes of Joe Parker, who I saw earlier, Zhilei Zhang, Martin Bakoli's phenomenal win over in America recently, and we're all looking forward to Usyk and Fury's rematch. So there's plenty of magic still ahead in the heavyweight division. The key is, I guess, how long Anthony and Tyson want to go on for. If they've got another couple of years in them, we've got a bit of excitement ahead, haven't we?
Yeah, for sure. There is some actually live fights going on behind us. Something
Chris
that
Congo, who I like very much, so I'd like to just have a little look at him.
I do like this sort of concept that they brought into the workouts. It does make it interesting. But yeah, Adam Smith, thank you so much for giving us your time. We will see you later on in the week. May get your thoughts closer we get to the fight. Thank you very much to Pro Boxing fans. Top man.
It's a pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Thank you.